Hello and welcome to the Trench Runners YouTube channel. This is Hackbar and I'm here with my friend
Blackbar.
and today we're going to be doing a talk about Legion, first ever Legion video on the channel. And we're going to be talking about the tournament list that we've made for the upcoming tournament that we're going to be having for my birthday this weekend. Both of these are drafts. However, one of each of these lists that we're using is the list that is going to be used in the tournament. So we have two lists that are possible tournament lists for us, but only one of them is going to be used as a tournament. He's playing the CIS, and I am, as always, the Republic. So first up, this is my first list, Take That Snipers. Take That Snipers for obvious reasons. It's Rex with Take That Clankers and Snipers. It's 796 points out of 800, so there's not very much of a bid here, but I don't think bidding is going to be that important for this particular list. 10 activations. That's probably the biggest part about this list is the fact that it's 10 activations, because it's not often that you get a clone list with that many activations considering how expensive clones are. So, yeah, it's kind of a surprise that we were able to get up to 10 activations. But starting off, Rex. Rex, he's okay. I personally don't think Rex the card is that good. The best part about him is his scouting party. But other than that, he's not particularly great. But the best thing about him, the only reason why so many people are using him is Take That Clankers. When a friendly activates two troopers, and while a friendly trooper unit with a face-up order token and an aim performs a ranged attack during the form attack pool step, it may increase its maximum range of each of its ranged weapons by 1 to a maximum of 4. So basically it makes all your, well, in this list it's only range 3, but all your range 3 guys shoot for range 4 for 1 turn. And normally, while you'd only get 2 troopers with that, with this list you're going to get 4, because you get 2 from the original Take That Clankers, then you get 1 from the clone commander who has direct. So you order one of your clone trooper units, and then you also have 5s, and 5s coordinates onto your other clone troopers. So you get 4 units, and that is going to be 2 phase 2 clone troopers with Z6s and offense push, because they need the aim. A 5s unit, phase 1 5s. And the reason this isn't phase 2s with 5s is because you get the specialist, which is another mini, and also because they're cheaper. And I figure even with even though they have 1 courage, which is their main downside, 5s increases it up to 2, which is adequate. So that's that. And then you also have a Z6 phase 1 captain in Overwatch, or in offensive push. Personally, I like the phase 1 specialist more, but I only own 1 phase 1 upgrade pack, so I have to use the captain and offensive push. Then I have 3 strike teams, all with situational awareness. The strike teams are the reason why this list is 10 activations. They are not super important to the strategy at all. They're just there for activations for the most part, and to hope maybe just deal some damage along the way, pick off some units. And they're not going to be very effective if I use them against Lackbar, because he plays CIS and snipers are, unless they can pick out like a Bane or something, they're notoriously bad against CIS because, oh, Pierce 1, oh no, 1 whole droid is dead, oh God forbid. But they all have situational awareness. I figure this is going to be very useful if they ever get into sniper battles, because most of the time they're going to be sitting behind heavy cover. You always want them sitting behind heavy cover, sniper peeking. And they gain outmaneuver, so they can spend dodges in order to gain outmaneuver, which is they can spend dodges to gain crits. I said that wrong. But I figure I'm going to always have either Rex or the clone commander back with the strike teams, and giving them dodges so that they can use their outmaneuver, if that applies where there's other snipers. Then we'll move on to the command cards. Call Me Captain, Take That Clankers, and oh shoot, meant to use Rex's 3-pip. We're Not Programmed. They're all just good cards. I think We're Not Programmed is probably the least useful, but it's still good. 4 clone troopers is always helpful.
It's going to end up being 6 face-up order tokens.
Exactly.
Which is more than half for me.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I can literally just leave out my strike teams and then 1 core unit, and that's going to work fine. So 6 orders is insane. It's really helpful. Almost complete order control all the time. And then Call Me Captain, Ambush, whatever, just pretty self-explanatory. Push and take that clankers. Although instead of push, I am going to be using air support because air support is just insane. Not quite as good again against droids, unfortunately, because beam is really good at handing out suppression, and suppression doesn't matter against droids. But it's still good regardless, because you're going to get 3 attacks. So you're going to get a total of 3 reds and 6 blacks, which is just going to be great. If you just move out into the open with, you don't even need to use Rex to put Rex out in the open. You can just put the Clone Commander out there, and he's only 55 points, so who cares if he dies? And take that clankers. Yeah, just in there. Then we have the objectives down here. You have hostage exchange, key positions, intercept the transmissions, and sabotage the moisture evaporator. Hostage exchange is pretty self-explanatory. I was talking about scouting party earlier. That's why it's so good. Scouting party 2, he has recon intel on him, so it's scout 2 from him, and then, it's just free, a free victory point. Sometimes it's going to be a free win because the snipers are also going to be helpful during hostage exchange because they can hopefully destroy, probably not, but they can do some damage from afar to the strike or to the unit that has the hostage. Key positions, intercept the transmission, sabotage the VAPs. I picked these because they're more defensive. This list is not going to be, in my opinion, super aggressive, except for the turn that it uses take that clankers. The turn that it uses take that clankers is just going to be move everyone forward, get damage in, but that's usually going to be early game. And after that, you settle into a more defensive role after your take that clankers alpha strike. And then you get sabotage the VAPs, which is good. You can just hide your VAPs behind cover and chill there. Intercept the transmissions, similar to key positions. They're pretty similar. But I think intercept the transmission is better because after take that clankers, you're going to have, hopefully you'll have control of the center. If you have control of the center, that means you get both of the, let me pull it up. Both of the, what are they called? Objective tokens. The one on your side, the right side, and then the one in the center. And then next we have the objectives, advanced positions. Again, scout 1, which is really good with hostage exchange and just Rex in general, and take that clankers. Long march, and really good for the snipers, and also helpful for take that clankers. Sometimes, not really, but range 4, it's not bad, but the long march is for the snipers. Major offensive and battle lines are just there so that I don't have to take. They're good with the list, but I don't want to take this array or any of these other ones. And then clear conditions, fortified positions, supply drop, rapid reinforcements. Just my standard 4 that I pick with every single Republic list that I make because they're just better than the other alternatives. Because definitely don't want limited viz. Absolutely don't. And then I don't like war weary or hostile environment in these because we're vulnerable to suppression. So there's about, and then minefield is just no. So yeah, that's take that snipers list number 1 and pass it to you, Hackbar.
Minefield is just for people who like being triggered.
Yeah. Take it away, Hackbar.
All right, so this is one of my 2 potential tournament lists. So this one is centered around General Grievous, which a lot of people at this point think he's kind of outdated. To an extent, they're right, but the best thing about Grievous is he's consistent and he doesn't have a direct counter, except you could argue Kenobi, but there's a way to play around Kenobi. So this is 10 activations, 797 points, not as much of a bid as I would like. Of course, you can mess around and try to go a little more risky, get rid of 1 HQ uplink, but it's usually not the greatest idea because if you lose that 1 unit, then your order control goes completely away. So yeah, the list starts off with General Grievous. He's got aggressive tactics, tenacity, and his Annihilator. Tenacity is great on Grievous. You always want to take the Annihilator. And I mean, aggressive tactics is just for surge tokens, which this list isn't specializing in generating surges, so it's good to have 4 surge tokens a turn. especially if you can get them on Grievous. And then you have two B1 units with rocket launchers and HQ uplinks for the obvious reason that rocket launchers are exhaustible. So is HQ uplink, you recover, you get a 2-for-1, and you get some impact in your list and range 4 firepower. And then I have two more B1 units with E5S troopers. In most lists, it's probably going to be 4 units with E5S troopers. I only have two B1 upgrades because I didn't want to buy 4. So I have two more rocket launchers as well. So these are easily swappable. They're each 20 points. So just whatever fits your build more. If you're in a tank heavy meta like I have been recently, you're probably going to want to keep the rocket launchers. Otherwise, just take E5S.
Tank heavy meta. For reference, guys, he's talking about me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so usually it's going to be E5S is just know what you're going to be up against. If you know the table and you know there's not a lot of line of sight blocking terrain, there's going to be tanks, you're going to want to bring some rocket launchers. And then I have 3 Droidicas. The reason I'm running Droidicas instead of snipe teams is because I feel like you get more value out of Droidicas than you do snipe teams, and you have the points for it in this list. And when you're running strike teams, you want to get orders on them because they have AI, so they can't take an aim and shoot. But this list is not meant to be giving anything except for Grievous and B1 battle droids orders, because the essential part of this list is you can have complete activation control every single turn of the game. All you have to do is go with Grievous. All of these are able to give Grievous an order. So you give Grievous the order, pop an HQ uplink, get orders on all of your B1s. You only have Droidicas left in your stack, and you have complete order control no matter what, unless General Grievous or both of your HQ uplinks die. Which
is unlikely to say the least.
Yes, if that happened, you probably already lost. Command cards are straightforward. It's Grievous's 3, as well as the 3 generics. Personally, I'm not a fan of the new command cards. First of all, because Grievous can't even use the 1 pip because it's droid troopers only. Grievous has the trooper keyword, not droid trooper, so he cannot use the 1 pip. The 2 pip, the 2 pip is what I meant. That's at the end of the activation of a friendly commander droid trooper. So that's why you can't run that, obviously. The whole point of this one is to give orders to your Droidicas, which you don't want to be doing because you'll get orders on one of your Droidicas, all of your B1s, but then you still have Grievous and 2 Droidicas in your stack and no order control. And you want to be able to go with Grievous when you're playing a 1 pip. That's obvious. And then the 3 pip you can only give to 3 droid troopers, once again not giving an order to Grievous, which you can't afford to do that. And then objective cards, I have intercept the transmissions, key positions, sabotage moisture evaporators, and bombing run. Intercept is kind of there because I dislike the other options more, because if I end up choosing payload, then I don't want to go up against Duke or Palpatine, who are inherently amazing at payload as well as clones. And you're probably going to see a lot of one of those 3 at all tournaments. Key positions is always great with droids because you have so many bodies and 10 activations. You're probably going to overwhelm the center and be able to capture it. It shouldn't be an issue in most games. Evaporators is just great for blue player. You should almost always win when you're blue player playing Evaporators, unless you're going up against like triple Tauntauns or something. And you probably don't want to play that because they'll just charge you and take out a unit and run away. And then bombing run for the fact that Droidicas can be fast. They can be speed 3. And I haven't done it yet, but I really want to try running General Grievous into the heart of someone's army, unleashing trained in your Jedi arts, and throwing a bomb at people, because the amount of damage that could do is terrifying.
Scarily. Yeah. I've had a lot of bad experiences versus Grievous. A lot.
Yeah.
Basically every time I played Grievous, it's been a bad experience for me.
Oh, yeah. And then you got Long March, Major Offensive, Hemmed In, Battle Lines. Hemden's good if you're going against clones. Try to split them up a little bit. I don't love battle lines, but deployments. There are a few that I like with droids. My favorite's Major Offensive. Long March is a little iffy. You have a lot of range 4, but no range 5, so that can be a little weird. You can easily play around with the deployments. This is just, I don't know. I don't really like many deployments other than Major Offensive with droids. And then you have Clear Conditions, which is just, good for everything. Hostile Environment for the fact that you're droids and you can't be suppressed, so suppression's fine. Does kind of suck for Grievous, but, you should be hiding him behind line of sight blockers until he charges into the heart of your opponent's army, so he shouldn't be getting shot. And then I went over that already. Fortified Positions is great with range 4, so you can just sit behind cover in range 4. With barricades, while Grievous goes and tears up the army, just lay down cover fire. And supply drop, just because, you can bring back droids, you can heal droidicas, get wounds off of Grievous, and that's all good stuff.
And it's also fun.
It is also fun. If you're going against clones, though, you may want to consider dropping it so they don't start regenning clone troopers.
What? No.
All right, so yeah, that's my list. We'll bring it back over to Hackbar.
Yep. Back to me. So now for my second list is, he mentioned the tank. It's here. Panzer Feast. It's a play on Panzerfaust, which was a World War II era anti-tank gun. And it's Panzer Feast because I'm going to be killing a lot of stuff with my Panzer, also known as a tank. This is a tank list. Love the tank. It's the only thing I'm good at. Not really, but still love the tank. This is a tank vigilance list. It's all about. Also, notice I don't have the command cards. This is because this is the list I'm using, and I do not want to reveal to Hackbar what my commands are. I don't care about these, though, because I already know he outbids me, so he can see what I had planned. Doesn't matter. But first off,
I'm going to go delete my command cards real quick.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, probably do that. I have the Clone Commander and Padme. Normally, I wouldn't. I mean, the Clone Commander is good, but I wouldn't know if I would necessarily run him here. But the main reason I'm doing that is for the command slot. Vigilance, baby. Vigilance is the best command card, or the best command. What are they called? One sec. Sorry, fellas. Yeah, just commands. It is the best one. Okay, let me click. During the end phase, choose either one friendly trooper unit at range 1 to 2 or up to 2 friendly core units at range 1 to 2. Each chosen unit does not remove 1 dodge token. So basically, you preserve dodges as the turn goes along, or as the game goes along. And with 2 vigilances, you're going to be targeting Padme with this, because Padme is quick thinking. So you can take quick thinking and a dodge. So then you have 2 dodges with Padme, and they both get preserved if you don't end up using them at the end of the turn. For next turn, which is just really good. The whole reason I'm using this whole dodge scheme is you're never going to see anyone do this with AATs or the Rebel or Imperial tanks. It's just because the Saber tank has outmaneuver, which means you can spend dodges to cancel crits, and then has armor, so it cancels all hits. So the only damage going through is going to be crits. But what that means, though, is that it's going to be trickling through, and it's not necessarily going to be in super high quantities. Like, you're never going to be getting 5 damage on at one time, hopefully, unless you've got mad impact going on, or you're a Jedi. But in that case, you're probably only going to be getting 2-3 damage max going in at the same time. So with Vigilance, having 3 or 4 dodges on hand is clutch. So that's what this list wants to do, is keep the tank alive through a bunch of Vigilance and dodge token dodge shenanigans. And R2 and C-3PO are a big part of that, but as is Padme. But the tank is the centerpiece of this list. This list is the tank. It doesn't have very much damage, high damage output, other than the tank, other than these 4 clone troopers that are mainly defensive because 3 of them have Overwatch and one's just a DC-15 trooper. But yeah, it's the tank. So I think it's fitting that I talk about the tank first. Besides what I've already talked about. We'll go Plo Koon last, but TX-130 Beam Cannon. This is not nearly as good against droids. Again, because Beam, I mentioned this with the command card, Beam is good at handing out suppression. and that doesn't matter versus droids. So I'm most likely, instead of using the beam cannon, so it's kind of a waste of 30 points, but whatever, I'm going to be using the high energy shells to shoot. Red, and a white, 2 to 4 with critical 1 and high velocity and cycle. But the cycle's not going to matter because this is just good because it's 1 extra dice than the beam cannon. I mean, if I see a good opportunity to use a beam cannon, I'll use it. But most of the time, I'll just be using the high energy shells and get 4 reds, 2 blacks, and 3 whites with critical 2 and impact 2, which is pretty nice. And it's going to exhaust at the end of turn. But you want to know what else is going to exhaust? HQ uplink, which I'm going to use every turn to get. I want order control on the tank, and Plo Koon. And Plo Koon is very nice because with all this, I'm going to use most of the time. I'm going to be recovering and shooting because I'm not going to be too agile with this tank because A, it's not agile, and it's not going to want to be moving too much. And B, I've got a lot of range 4 threats. So the main point of this tank is to sit there and make sure no one on the enemy side goes where it's pointing and to kill anything that does because it's a big, scary monster. That's what this tank is. So Plo Koon and TX and the high energy shells and HQ uplink, you just recover and shoot every turn. And what that means is you get 2 dodge tokens from the Saber tank. And what that does is that 2 dodges is going to lead into the next part of this list, which is the dodge token shenanigans. So you have 2 dodges from Plo Koon on top of the 2 from Padme because she's going to quick thinking and dodge. So that's 4 dodges already. That's already insane. And then you have the next part of this list, which is C-3PO and R2. C-3PO chooses a friendly trooper at range sight, so Padme, because Padme is a trooper. And it gains 1 aim and a dodge and a suppression. And what that means is Padme is going to have 5 dodges on her. And I probably should have mentioned this, but she is exemplar, which means friendly units at range 1 to 2 and in line of sight can spend her rain green tokens, which can either be dodges or standbys, depending on the situation. Or aims, but usually with this list, you're going to be taking standbys or dodges almost exclusively. So that's 5 dodges. That's ridiculous. You're almost never going to get past 5 dodges with only crits. It's insanely hard, and it's probably not going to happen. So most likely, this Saber tank is not going to be taking, hopefully, any damage at all the entire game. But, a lot of the time, though, I won't need 5 dodges. I'll only need 4 or 3, but 4. And I will instead take a standby on Padme. And taking a standby on Padme activates these 3 units that I have that all have Overwatch. And Overwatch with Padme is basically the oldest clone trick in the book as far as I'm concerned, because that's what I've been using for as long as I've been running clones is Padme or Anakin, Overwatch, standby sharing, whatever, all the good stuff. So these guys are good defensively, and they're just I like Overwatch. They're not going to be as good, though, against range 4 threats, which unfortunately I know Hackbar has because they just shoot the aim off or they shoot the standby off of them. So they're most likely going to be good against defending things that they have line of sight to. Like they're going to hide behind a building and then defend an objective, most likely. That's all they're going to do. And if anyone comes in line of sight of the objective, they're just going to shoot it. That's what they're for. And the DC-15 trooper, again, just 27 points, might as well, because I do not need a 770-something point bid. So he's there because range 4, critical 1, 2 red, why not? And then R2 is another reason why this tank will never take damage. Repair 2, capacity 2. So that's another 4 wounds that R2 just gets to take off the tank. And if I really don't care about how much damage the tank takes, because let's say Hackbar or whoever I'm playing can't push through at all, then R2 can just secret mission and hopefully get me an extra VP in a stalemated game like what it's called, Sabotage the Moisture Evaporators or anything like that. So that's the list. And then you have the objectives down here. Key positions, payload, intercept the transmissions, recover the supplies. Key positions and intercept, again, I think they're good with clones. They're just good with clones in general. Payload and intercept is especially good because I can just point my tank at the center. To an extent, key positions, but not as good because the center is usually going to be just a big line of sight blocker. So you just kind of put your the enemies just kind of maneuver around the line of sight blocker. But with intercept, it's just in the center of the battlefield. So, all right, just back, quick cut right there. Intercept the transmissions. As I was saying, it's good with clones because, well, not necessarily clones, but the tank, because I just point the tank at the center objective and say, get out of my way, my clones are claiming that. And payload is good because of the beam cannon, and it's also good with clones because it lets us bunch up and do token sharing shenanigans. So payload is good with clones. And then next up, we have deployments, battle lines, major offensive, rollout, hemmed in. Rollout's pretty self-explanatory. Battle lines, major offensive, and battle lines, major offensive are there because I don't want long march and I don't really like any of the alternatives. Disarray, absolutely not. I don't even know if I can fit my tank on the board. Actually, I can, but it's not ideal. Danger close, no. Don't want stuff getting too close to my tank. And long march is, again, too far from the tank. So battle lines is in. Major offensive is in. Rollout, pretty self-explanatory. I get to put my tank up a little bit. Why not have it in here? And then hemmed in is going to be helpful because I can put the tank on one side and all my clones on the other and hopefully get some scary stuff going on that way. Clear conditions, supply drop, fortified positions, rapid reinforcements. As I said, these are the only 4 that I ever pick with clones because I don't like the stuff that I don't. Limited viz is just bad with this list again, and then war weary hostile environment are not good with suppressions because clones are susceptible to suppression. And minefield is also not good, especially with clones because you can't afford to lose your clone troopers like you can afford to lose them with, droids. So that's why clear conditions, fortify, rapid reinforcements, supply drop. Also, supply drop's really fun. So that's Panzer Feast, but it's only 800 out of 800 points. Sorry, I didn't mention this before, and 8 activations. So you're going to get out activated. It's that simple. With virtually any list you encounter, it's just the fact of the matter. And order control outside of the tank is not going to be very good. Which is another unfortunate, but it's not that big of a deal, I don't think, because with your clone troopers, you're usually going to be taking standbys. So it's not that big of a deal if they don't have an order token on them. You just pull from the stack, pull a core unit, or hopefully pull a core unit, and then, they take a standby. So order control isn't as needed as it is in most lists, but, you're usually going to have R2 in the stack. R2 and the clone commander are usually going to be in a stack, like if you use Padme's command cards. But if you use like Assault, then whatever, you're going to have full order control. But if you use Padme's 1 pip or 2 pip, or no, Padme's 1 or 3 pip, I believe, then you're gonna have R2 and the clones in the stack, and that's not going to be ideal. So, and the clone commander. So yeah. Order control isn't great, but I think it's a fun list, and I'm experienced with the tank. So anyways, Hackbar, we're back to you for what you're going to be using in the tournament. Here it is.
So yeah, my list here is Cadbane. He's probably my favorite unit in Star Wars Legion right now. He is the Swiss Army knife of all Swiss Army knives. Boba Fett excluded because he's Boba Fett. And he's just such a good control piece, and I just wanted to experiment with Cadbane, and I think in the long run he's going to be something that we're going to see on a high competitive level, maybe not a lot on in basic tournaments, but once we get up to Worlds and Gen Con finals, I think we're going to be seeing some Cadbane.
Yeah, that's because Cadbane is hard to play right. He needs a lot of experience to be able to play, and that is part of the reason why Hackbar wants to play him now while we're all in, quarantine and there's no tournaments going on, so that when there are tournaments going on, he's basically absolutely cracked at Cadbane.
Exactly. All right, so yeah, I'll just run over what's in the list. First, we have a T-Series tactical droid with aggressive tactics. That literally explains itself. I don't have to say anything more about that for the rest of the video. We've got Cadbane with duck and cover for a little more survivability because he does have danger sense too. HQ uplink to make sure that you always have an order in Cadbane because he is an operative, so there are going to be turns where the T series is issuing orders, and you need to have something on Cadbane. And then you also have his Electro Gauntlets, which is really just there to make sure that he doesn't get massacred by Jedi. Basically, he can move while engaged with a unit that has one or more immobilized tokens, even while this card is exhausted. And he rolls 4 red dice in melee with immobilized 3 and suppressive. And what I like about these gauntlets is even if you don't wound the Jedi because you need to wound them to get the immobilize on it, you can just play as 2-pip and it gives them immobilized tokens because you can hand out suppression tokens to unit range 1 to 2, hand it out to the Jedi you're melee with, and then just run away. So that's what's nice about that command card, which I figured I'd show you because Hackbar should probably realize that I'm going to run most of Cadbane's command cards.
Yep.
So yeah, we got Cadbane, and then we have 2 E5S troopers because they're good at range 4 and they kill stuff. That's
Unfortunately, as I was saying earlier about the tank list that I'm running, is range 4 stuff shoots them off, and you'll notice that he has 6 range 4 stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, that's they're going to be hiding a lot, my clones, and the tank will be doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah. So yeah, we got 2 E5S units. They're there to pick off core units if you're lucky, strike teams, but that's probably not going to happen because your enemy should be corner peeking with strike teams, so you can't kill the whole thing. And then 4 more B1 units with rocket launchers. Originally, I had them in this list to deal with flamer ATRTs because they can be a huge problem against battle droids. Because one flamethrower around and you probably lost an entire B1 unit to it. So they're to deal with ATRTs for the most part. They're also good against tanks.
Are they? Are you sure? Man, I
Preferably when the tank
wonder why
doesn't
you
have
put
5
8
levels.
impact in your list.
Yeah, so they're good to have. Of course, if you really want to, you know what you're going to play against, swap them out for E5S's. Do whatever you want. I don't care. It's your choice. Yeah, so it's good in a tournament because if you end up facing something like triple flamer ATRTs or an AAT or a saber tank, it's a good thing to have. And you have 3 droidicas because they're suppressive, they're hard to take down, they can be fast when you need them to be, and that's a pretty nice thing to have. They're Swiss Army knives, just like Cadbane. So the core idea of this list is to have high activations. It's an 11 activation list, not as much as some theoretical 14 activation T-series list that I've seen flying around, which are just kind of chaotic and don't really make sense. So it's high activations. That way you can hopefully go last with a bunch of the units that you need to go last and potentially play a 1-pip the next turn, hit them again, run away. That's just simple tactics that you should always try to use last first in your opponent. Is always a good idea, especially with Cadbane. He's got steady, he's got jump, so you can jump him out. If you have to, if you can't make it in one move, then you can move him twice, get your shot off. He's got steady, so you can get your shot, and then you can play a 1-pip the next turn, get back to safety, take a shot, hide behind a building, do something like that.
I would like to comment here. See, a thing is, the last time that I played Legion, we played very similar lists against each other. None of our lists, my list did not include the Clone Commander or Vigilance, so I would say it was worse. But Cad Bane is not that effective against Overwatch because last first is all good, but if I have Overwatch, I'm essentially saving my attack until you go. So if Cad Bane wants to pop out, then all for it.
Yeah. So last time we played against each other, he was running Overwatches. I didn't end up dropping Cad Bane until turn 3 with his 3-pip, and I think he only shot once that game, which did actually end up winning me the game. but he was definitely had reduced effects, and he couldn't get a bounty off because Padme was hiding like the coward that she is.
Hey.
So yeah, another core part of this list is order control. Separatists need to have order control, especially Cadbane. He is a finesse piece that has to have order control to succeed. So this means having orders on Cadbane every single round. That's why you're seeing things like HQ uplinks. You're seeing the T-Series tactical drill that is direct. That's why I don't have any HQ uplinks on these units. So he can just use his direct and chain it all the way through all the B1 units. And, if basically, even if you're playing ambush, you can issue the one order to Cadbane. T-Series can direct all the way through and then chain all the way back around to the T-Series itself. So you have orders on all of these units, leaving only your Droidicas.
Same idea as like the Grievous list. You're
Yes,
gonna have
same
order
idea as the
control.
Grievous list. So you're always going to be able to do something. And if you really need to, you can recover with Cadbane. Just to get your HQ uplink back on important turns. And then 2 command cards I did include to show here is I'm in control, because it's probably not going to have a huge effect on our game. This and the gauntlets are just to counter Jedi. That's the whole point of them. You need to, if you're going up against operative Luke, you have to be able to do something, because if you just let him Son of Skywalker you will die. I guarantee that. So you need to be able to get away somehow. And even if you don't wound them, you need to get immobilized tokens. And I'm in control makes that like a guaranteed option. Which then, you can disengage, shoot them with your blaster, and run behind a corner or something with using steady. And then I make the rules now. You're going to have in every Cadbane list. All right, yeah. So I make the rules now is just, a good thing to have in all of your Cadbane lists. It's primarily the reason you run Cadbane. You get a bomb out of it. You can kind of try to fake out your opponents, try to zone them out a little bit so they don't, rush the center on intercept the transmissions. It's like if you want to rush the center, you're going to get hit by a mine or something. It's also great to drop your Here I Am token behind a line of sight blocker in the middle. So you can just sit there the whole game, pop out the corner, shoot something, run back behind the corner. So that way Cadbane's never taking damage and just taking out 2 models a turn pretty much. So that's a big reason why you make Cadbane. Hopefully you can just lock down whatever area you need to lock down using those Bane tokens. And that allows the rest of your army to advance on objectives like key positions and intercept transmissions. If you're playing something like Hostage Exchange, gets iffy whether you want to do this. You could try to pull some weird tactic where Cadbane, tries to pop out and then rush into you and hit you with gauntlets and immobilize you so you can't run away. I wouldn't recommend it. Bane's probably going to die in the process if they disengage. Probably not a great idea. And you're probably not going to want to use it too much on Sabotage and Moisture Evaporators. You could try to put him on Evaporator, but they're probably going to have units there, and he's probably going to get shot and die. So on defensive objectives, you're probably not going to want to do that. What I would recommend is play this card turn 1 when Cadbane's still in your deployment zone. Drop a Bane token behind a line of sight blocker that you know will be safe. Play Bane however you want the rest of the game, and as soon as he starts taking that damage that you can't afford to take, just drop him back behind the building in safety and just have him survive and keep his bounty that you hopefully collected during the course of the game. So yeah, that's really the core idea of this Cadbane list. If anyone tries to run it, let me know what changes you make and what you find worked and didn't work, because this is probably going to be my tournament list, and it's good to know if this has like a huge weakness that I'm missing, or if there's a fundamental change that needs to be made. So yeah, thanks for watching this breakdown of me and Hackbar's tournament lists. I'm Lackbar. I was accompanied by Hackbar, but he ditched me. So sad. Yeah, so we're the Trench Runners, and thank you for watching.